Hello, very good morning to all my students. Today we are going to study very adventurous story, and this story is about the advanced city of London, and we would see how these were lighted by lamps and what was the role of the lamplighters. Very adventurous story, very amazing story. You will be interested. So the name of the story is Light in the Night. Light in the Night. How the nights were lit up by the light. For example, and these words you have to learn. For example, enforce means to make sure something is done. Wick means, have you ever seen a candle? A candle. Upon the candle there is a thread. That thread is called a wick. For example, a string in oil or in the middle of a candle that is lit for burning. London is a major capital city. At night, it glows brightly like most modern cities. Before 1700, now we are talking about 1700, 17th century. Today is 21st century and we are talking about 17th century. What was the condition of London? London was much smaller than it is now. London was a small city at that time. On cloudless moonlit night, people would okay. Now we are talking cloudless moonlit nights when there was moon. People would take advantage of moonlight and go out to socialize together to talk with people because there was no electricity. Just imagine, London was not having electricity, but night time in the city would be very dangerous. How could it be dangerous? You can trip, because just imagine you are in the darkness or you are in a dark area where there is no electricity. You can trip. For example, you can fall over the things. The things are not visible to you. You can fall and injure yourself. If you fell in a river, you could drown because the river is not visible to you. You could be attacked or robbed by the criminals. The things would be snatched by you by the criminals who move around the cities. Roamed means moved around the cities. You could easily get lost because there is no electricity, there are no lights, only darkness. You could be get lost. If people wanted to go out at night, they would have to carry a burning torch. Now, if you have seen in the old dramas, a torch, people would get outside with a torch or a lamp in their hands, and if they were rich enough, pay someone else to carry it, because if they are rich, then someone would carry the lamp and they would be behind them. There were many link boys, and the people or the persons who would carry lamps were called link boys. Which boys? Link boys, who would for a small fee holding a burning torch or a lamp ahead of people so that they could see the way through the dark streets. Some of these link boys were dishonest. Now they were not very poor. Honest people would rob the people who had employed them and then run off and leave them in dark. Now these link boys were not trusted one. Often they rob, often they snatch things and run away. By the early 1700s, busy cities like London and Paris had street lamps in some areas. Now they have planted street lamps. Okay. In Paris, which had street lamps before London, the first street lamps were actually lights placed in the windows of the houses. Police enforced a law that said every house had to have a lamp burning in the window all night long. Now, it was a rule that in front of every house there should be a window, and with that window there should be a lamp, and that lamp should be lighted up a whole night. If the lamp went out, people would have to get up to relight. If the lamp went out, it means that if there is no light, people have to relight or face being fined. Otherwise, they would be fined. Some people started to offer their services as lamplighters. Now, lamplighters. In return for payment, lamplighters would put up a lamp outside the house and make sure it was lit. The street lamps reassured people, and made them feel safer. The authorities realized that the benefits they brought and took over the installation and maintenance of them. All over Europe, the use of lampposts grew. Now, there were all lampposts, but they were lit by the oil. In 1700, London grew rapidly and became the world's center of trade and manufacturing and fashion. Now, there was business. Business became important, and lights were needed to keep the city working and entertaining at night. By late 1700, London had so many street lamps that visitors to the city were amazed by them. There were many lamps. Everywhere there were lamps. The lamps were fueled by the wax or the oil that gave off an unpleasant smell and often dripped. Now, just imagine if there is oil in the lamp and there are so many lamps in the street, it would be smelly. It would be smelly, and dripped means it went off. Many people were employed as lamp-lighters because each lamp had to be lit by hand every evening. Now, if there are 100 lamps, there would be 100 people to light it up. One German tourist visiting London in 1700 wrote in his diary, "As it was quite dark when I came back the first evening, I was astonished." Astonished means I was wondered, I was surprised at the admirable manner in which the streets were lighted up. Oh my God. In the darkness, the lamps were lighted. The bright lamps made the city seem exciting and lively. The lamps are so near each other that even on the most ordinary and common nights, the city has the appearance of festive illumination. Very important. Festive. You have noticed that on Indian side, there is the festival like Diwali, and there are so many lights. So it looked like a festival that there are so many lamps there. The lamplighters quickly became an important and valuable part of the society. They often became a key figure in their communities. They would walk the same day, and as they checked and cleaned and fixed light and put out the light, they would going on around them. Many lamplighters helped to make their routes safer, and the energy, strength, and agility. Agility means quickness, and reliability. They had to keep the city lights clean, make sure the wicks were trimmed to the right length. Wicks means a thread over the lamp, rightly trimmed. They are not so big, they are not so small. Okay. Light tens of the lamps in the evening and put them all out again in the morning. Many lamplighters were pleased to be guardians. Now they are just like guardians because they were lighting the lamps all the night in their communities, and often the job would be passed on from parent to child, and the job was transferred. If the father was a lamplighter, the post would be transferred to the child. So it was like this. The lampposts of the London were designed with the bar sticking on either side that the lamplighter could safely rest on the ladder on them. Like this. Lamplighters moved quickly, carrying their ladder and going up and down it hundreds of times a day. The lampposts were decorated with the royal crest. Royal crest means this was the royal crest, giving a royal look. Okay, and were looked after carefully by the lamplighters. When the gas lamp started to be used from 1805, now starting from 1700, almost 100 years back, 100 years was spent. They changed the work of lamplighters. The gas lamps were quickly to light and didn't require lots of work like the oil lamp. Now, after 100 years, now the lamps were changed from oil to gas. They were converted from oil to gas. Now, what's the benefit? Benefit I would discuss. The gas lamps were much quicker to light. Just with a matchstick, you can light your stove, and didn't require lots of work like burning. Now you don't have to change the smelly oil or replacing or trimming the wicks. Now wicks are not important, wicks are not there because there are no wicks on your stoves. Just imagine your stoves. Like some of the lamplighters felt their job wasn't as same anymore. Charles Dickens. Now, who is Charles Dickens, students? Charles Dickens is the greatest historian, the greatest novelist of all times of London. He captured this feeling in the story, The Lamplighters, who he has also written Lamplighters. With one character talks about from the oil to gas. I foresee. I foresee means I predict in this. The breaking up of our profession, there's no more going the rounds to trim by daylight. No more dripping down of the oil on the hats and the bonnets of the ladies and gentlemen when feels in spirits. Any low fellow can light a gas lamp. Now he is regretting that our job is only to light up the gas. No more function. Gas lamps were better than oil lamps in many ways. For example, although a big issue with them was that every now and again one would blow up. Blow up means busted. Over time, gas lamps replaced oil lamps. Later, with the invention of electricity, gas lamps were replaced by electric lamps. Now we have electric lamps, which now dominate modern streets. Today, there are still 1,500 gas lamps in London. 1,500 gas lamps. Five people are employed to operate them. They light them every evening and put them every morning. These lights were carefully looked after because they are part of a city's history. Now, why they are not replaced? Because they are now part of history. Okay, Kensington Palace Gardens is the name of a long avenue in London. It is lined with the grand old buildings and it lit entirely by gas lamps. This palace garden, Kensington's Palace Garden, is the historical place where there are historical buildings and this whole palace is lit by oil lamps, by gas lamp. There you can imagine what it would have been like London during the times of Charles Dickens. So amazing story. Have you enjoyed the story? I definitely enjoyed the story when I was going through it. And if you have enjoyed the story, just learn the words and the meanings and learn the dictation words also. So stay happy, stay learning. Have a nice day.